Lads, welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. It is finally happening. Mikel Arteta has given in. We will sign a striker this year, either in January or in the summer. Arsenal have a consensus. We have an agreement internally that we will go and get a striker. We wanted to get one last summer. That was Benjamin Sesko, but most of the strikers we were talking to, there was no guarantee that they would start ahead of Kai Havertz. Now, according to Sami Makpo, Arsenal want to get a striker, and there is guarantee that they will start ahead of Kai Havertz if they are better. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. This is a story I've waited to do all my life. Now, of course, ever since Mikel Arteta came in, we have not done massively well in terms of recruiting on the forward line. Like, if you think about it, how many players on the forward line has Mikel Arteta spent real top dollar on? That is Gabriel Jesus, that is Leandro Trossard as well. Kai Havertz was signed as a midfielder. Probably it worked, probably it didn't. But, whatever it is, money wasted is money gone. So now Mikel Arteta is waking up to his senses and he wants to get a striker. And there is a consensus internally at Arsenal that whichever striker we get, they will have to start ahead of Kai Havertz as the poacher, as number 9. Now, of course, if you're Mikel Arteta, this is not very good news because he spent 65 million on Kai Havertz, he spent 50 million on Gabriel Jesus, and now that means that is all deadwood. That is, those are failed projects. I tell you, Gabriel Jesus is a failed project at Arsenal. Yes, he has 5 goals in his last 2 games, but I bet he's not going to have 20 or 15 goals this campaign. He's not going to score another 10. And that's not in a bad way. That is being realistic. So we're going to look at the striker options that I have on my in my book right now. But the big thing is that Arsenal are waking up and Mikel Arteta is willing to bury his ego and do the needful. Because for me, if we had a striker last season, could we have won the title? Maybe, probably. Because there were games where all we had to do was to capitalize on the chances we are creating. There were games where all we had to do was to bury our chances. And even this season, remember when I told you that there will be games where we score 5. Sporting Lisbon 5. You have West Ham 5. Those are the good days. But what about a 0-0 at Everton? What about a 1-1 against Fulham? You need a poacher. You need a guy that is going to be pushing to get you a goal. That is what Arsenal do not have at the moment, right? And that's why everyone is excited about Gabriel Jesus, scoring goals because he's our number 9. So let's look at the reasons why we have decided to go and get a striker that will overlap Kai Havertz, and then we'll look at the names. So Mikel Arteta has always been singing about an X factor. Players that have an X factor are very different. They are kind of different from what we are used to, and they're kind of different from the ordinary players. You look at Benzema, you look at Robert Lewandowski, you look at Erling Braut Haaland, you look at Victor Gyökeres. Those players that have the killer instinct, those players that have the urge, the drive, the hunger, the ambition to go and do a job and, just help the team. Arsenal do not have that. Like, we have very many luxury players. We have very many productive players. Odegaard, Saka, Trossard, very productive players. Declan Rice, right? When it trains, it powers. But remember, it doesn't train every day, and therefore, it doesn't power on every occasion. So what about on days where you want to win a game, but it's not training, right? The games that Robin van Persie or Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang used to win for us, where you just float the ball into the box, or you float the ball into his feet, and then he does his thing as a striker. Thierry Henry used to do that as well. I think Mikel has realized that for me to win titles, I am going to dominate games and score many goals, but I'm also going to have games that I don't dominate. I'm also going to have games that I dominate, but fail to create 100 chances. That is why we're going for a striker, and I love it. So what are the options? Number one, the priority is Alexander Isak. Now, I'm not really disappointed, but I still have in me something scratching in my gut and also in my heart that why is he the first option? Like, I like what Manchester City do, and I like what Bayern do, and I like what the big boys do in football. When Madrid look at Kylian Mbappe and is the hottest prospect and is the best player arguably on the planet, they go and get him. When you look at Manchester United back in the day under Sir Alexander Ferguson, you look at Michael Carrick, best midfielder in the league, you go and grab him. Right now, Victor Gyökeres is the hottest striker prospect. But we'll talk about him, and we'll talk about why Arsenal are fearful of signing him. But let's start off with Alexander Isak. Top priority. He is the number one. They either get him, right, or spend more time trying to get him. Now, of course, more reports, according to Sami Makpo, the Daily Mail, and a couple of others, are saying that the reason why Mikel Arteta is fixated on Isak is because he still doesn't want an out-and-out striker. Of course, with Alexander Isak, you have two things. You have a natural goal scorer, a natural poacher, but also a very highly advanced attacking weapon. I think people have made comparisons between him and Thierry Henry in the way they play, in the way they operate, and you understand why. So I think Mikel Arteta wants to get in a player like Isak because even if Isak doesn't work out as a striker, you can play him anywhere. Even if you just don't want to play a 4-3-3 with a number 9, you could play a 4-4-2, you could play any system, and Alexander Isak will be able to adapt. Secondly, the reason that's why you want to get Isak is that Premier League experience. 2 seasons now, I think, is this his 3rd season or 2nd season? Probably his 2nd season in the Premier League, and he's done all right. He's really, really done all right. So I can see why Mikel wants Alexander Isak. Internally, there are concerns about Alexander Isak, especially he is a very injury-prone player, and Mikel Arteta teams are very, very intensified. So if you look at the intensity of Arteta's teams and you couple it with Alexander Isak's injury record, then you get the picture. But he is there, right? He is there, Alexander Isak, number one. If Arsenal don't get him, we will revisit Benjamin Sesko. Now, with Sesko is a player that Arsenal have kept tabs around very, very consistently. Like, he's a player that we have kept good relations and we have kept on looking at him. My problem with Sesko is that he doesn't strike me as like a huge prospect. Like, the guy he just seems bang average. Like, I'm looking at him and I'm like, what is the difference between this guy and Nicholas Jackson? I don't see a deadly finisher. I don't see, kind of a deadly poacher in him. But maybe I'm not seeing the whole picture, right? Maybe I'm not seeing the whole picture. Then you have Dusan Vlahovic. He's on the list as well. Dusan Vlahovic, obviously, one of the players that, Arsenal have tracked for quite some time. You have Marcus Rashford, who I'm going to do another video about. Marcus Rashford is also in the list. And then Kolo Muani as a January fixed. With Muani, I like the idea of him coming in January. Like, if we could get Muani in January, that would allow us to have enough time to assess striker options in the summer, because Osimhen will also be, available in the summer. So Arsenal saying we can get a striker now. The striker can play ahead of Havertz, right? Partly, according to Sami Makbo, partly one of the reasons why Arsenal didn't get a striker was because we looked at what had happened during the back end of the last campaign, especially with Havertz, the progress, and we said, no, he's scoring goals. Let us not sign a striker. Let us trust him. But now, Mikel is willing to bend and get in number 9.